Okay, I am here with my two people and my real mom and dad. If y'all can say your names.
Herbert.
Anita.
See, I told you they are. All right. You can see where I get my charm from. All right. So, going into the speech, the American way of life is something worth fighting for. I remember when you picked me up from school when 9/11 happened, we saw the towers fall. And that is when I knew that the American way of life is absolutely something worth fighting for. On January 20th, President Trump signed an executive order to end government DEI programs within the government. And we got to see what the military stance was on that. We got to see the civilian reaction to what that is. But I'm going to talk about the order itself, how we got here, and basically what we should do. So in 2020, in 2021, I was stationed out in Korea when this whole thing happened. We got in an order from General Abrams, and this happened throughout the entire military. They said, everybody's going to talk about diversity and inclusion, and you're going to continue talking about it because this was on the back of the George Floyd incident when he passed away from the two police officers. And so there was a lot of uprising within, minorities, and this is how they're treating us. So the military said, well, we're going to get in front of this. So we went to the base theater and we got to talk to the base commander about our perspectives on what it's like being a minority in the military, because our commander was a Caucasian male. And he said that whenever I go to my meetings, all I see are people who look like me. There are no women, there are no minorities. And why are they not in this office? So they said, well, we're going to continue talking about it. Well, on the D&I, Diversity and Inclusion program, it turned into the DEI program, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, in order to make sure that troops were having equal opportunities and they're being treated fairly and given a fair shake so that way they have the same opportunities as everyone else and that there's no bias. But when the DEI program took off, other bases would have minority sergeants take over this program, and you go ahead and talk about all the things that are going on. And we were hearing like terrible stories around the Army and the Marine Corps. They're making Caucasian troops apologize for being white, apologize for racism, apologize for racial discrimination within the military, and it's your fault and all this stuff. And it wasn't turning into what DEI should have been, which is informative. It became accusative. And so when I transferred back over to the States, they had the DEI program here, but nobody was talking about it. It was just, look at this slide, check this box, congratulations, you did your training, move on. Well, since the program wasn't making its mark, and it cost millions of dollars, according to American Military News, which is a news agency that looks in on what the military is doing, where did we go from here? Well, the document that Donald Trump signed on January 20th, he said, the director of the Office of Management shall coordinate the termination of all discriminatory programs, including illegal DEI and diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, mandates, policies, programs, preferences, and activities in the federal government under whatever name they appear. And this started causing confusion within Americans. I remember that they were talking about getting rid of diversity champions like Tuskegee Airmen, the first black pilots that the military had, the WASP, which was one of the first females that flew for the military. And so the Defense Department immediately issued out an order saying that our diversity months, so Black History Month, Women's History Month, Pride Month, Filipino, all these different months are now dead. You're not allowed to do them on our own time at all. But on the same day, January 20th, President Trump put out another message saying February is Black History Month and we should celebrate our Black heroes. So what's going on there? Well, the executive order said that troops aren't allowed to do this on government time, but it says nothing about their free time when they get off work. So in the service, we still have these celebrations and we do celebrate the months. We actually use them for excuses to run 5Ks, and we'll have, parties and stuff like that. But sometimes we would do that on government time because it was in lieu of our physical training. They're like, oh, instead of going out to the gym for an hour, go run a 5K, and it's themed for Pride Month. We can't do that anymore because of the executive order. But we can celebrate Black History Month, Women's History Month, and stuff like that. And they wanted us to focus in on our profession because they were the profession of arms. And focus in on being the best military that you can be on your time. And then on your free time, then you can go out and celebrate Black History Month, Women's History Month, whoever's month that you want on your time. But work is work, play is play. So that's what the executive order was coming down for. So we can still celebrate diversity within the military, and we should. Because this is how we get all of our heroes and celebrate all of our heroes. We're able to understand why Dr. Mary Walker was the first woman to get the Medal of Honor and what she did. We got to hear why Benjamin O. Davis is such a big, prominent name within the military, because that was the first leader of the Tuskegee Airmen that has that history. That's how we build our history. First Black person to do this, because we, unfortunately, still in 2025, we still have this problem of the Caucasian male wing commander going, everybody else in my office looks Caucasian and male. I have no other perspective to pull from this. And you still have other minorities saying, why aren't we represented and shown within, are we not good enough, or do we have to do more? Like the WASPs had to do. They had to fly 5 planes to 1 that the males had to. Tuskegee Airmen had to fly heavily in order to get proper aircraft to go fly in combat when they were allowed to go fly in combat. So, but these were ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. And so looking at them as Americans and inclusion, also celebrating the diversity of their backgrounds. Because behind every gun sight, underneath every helmet, and inside every uniform is a human being like them that is worth fighting for. You have any questions?
Yes. Okay. My question is this. Do you feel that the president, 9 times out of 10, is civilian? They have no real understanding of the military lifestyle. Should they give these types of rulings for the behavior of the military as a civilian instead of giving the suggestion to the heads of the branches of the military and allowing the military to put together a program that better fits the lifestyle of the military? Because the military are first responders. Mm-hmm. And with you being first responders, you're 24/7. You don't have a 9 to 5. You are on call 24/7. So in that mindset, do you feel that a civilian person would be able to design something of that nature as far as inclusion for a area that they really have no knowledge of?
Yes, I believe so, because good ideas come from everybody. And if they see that it's something that is harming the American troop, somebody should say something in order to stop it, whether they're military, civilian, contractor, or whoever it is. But the idea should be inclusive. The idea should be good for everyone, and it should not harm but help the American troop. Thank you. We got it's almost 9 minutes.